Hi there and welcome back to my channel. This is actually coming to you with an update on my summer reading goals. So as you may know, if you check out my video on my summer reading goals for 2017, something new that I tried out. My goal was to read 12 specific books over the 3 months of summer. Most of these books that I had on my list I had kind of been waiting to read for some reason, and I don't know why I was waiting to read them, but I figured it's time to get them off my list. I gotta read them. And so, the question is, did I read all 12 books this summer? No, I did not. I did read 21 books this summer, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, only 9 of them were from my summer reading list. There are 3 books that I did not make it through. I did not finish reading Anna Karenina like I wanted to. It really stinks, but I just didn't get to it. I started reading Word by Word by Corey Stamper. This book Tim gave to me. I started reading it while we were away on vacation. I just couldn't get into it too much. It's kind of, you have to take it little snippets at a time, like 1 chapter at a time, and just kind of eat away at it. It's very tough. It's a good read, but it's a tough read. And then next, I wanted to read both of these books by Elizabeth Warren. Only this one was on my list. I don't know why I had this one on my list and not this one, because I hadn't read this one. As you can see, I'm like a little over halfway done with it. Granted, a huge chunk of this book is like notes and stuff. So as you can see, I don't have that much more to go. I just didn't finish it. I was worn out on nonfiction, and so I didn't even touch this one. On the books that I did finish, let's talk about those. So the first book I read this summer was Our Dark Duet. This book was on my list of books to read. I gave it 3 stars, and I do actually have a review up for it right now, so go check it out. Next up was Perfect by Cecilia Ahern. I gave that 4 stars. I have a review recorded, but it's not up yet, but you should still check it out once it's done, and I'll link it up here. The third book that was on my list that I read was Doing It by Hannah Witten. I gave that book 4 stars. There is a review. Go check it out. Next, The Girl Who Was Taken. That was on my list. I gave it 4 stars. The next book that was on my list that I did read was The Girls. That got 3 stars. Next was A Strange Companion from a Once Upon the Book Club box. That got 2 stars. Next, I read Final Girls. That was not on my list, but I really loved that book. That got 5 stars. Then I read an ebook called Books, Boys, and Revenge. That got 4 stars. It was very YA, but very also kind of cheesy and good. The next book, it was on my summer reading list. That was The Possessions by Sarah Flannery Murphy. That got 3 stars. Next, I read Afterbirth. That was not on my list for the summer, but it got 3 stars. Then I read You Will Know Me by Megan Abbott. That received 3 stars, and that was on my list. Also on my list was The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. That was a book that had been on my list for so long, and I love World War II fiction, and I just kept putting it off because I didn't want to be let down by it. But The Nightingale received 5 big stars from me. It was such a great book. Around this time, Tim and I went on vacation, and the first book I read on vacation was Tornado Weather by Debora E. Kennedy. She's actually an alum of the college that I work at, and so I was very excited to see that there was a published author with a new book out, and I really liked her story. 4 stars. I don't think that one was That one was not on my list because I didn't have it when I made my list. Next was Tuck Everlasting. I always loved that story as a kid, and I kind of just wanted to reread it, like a quick, day read, easy peasy while we're traveling, and that always gets 4 stars for me. Next up was One Day We'll All Be Dead and None of This Will Matter. This book is a collection of essays, and I received it in a Book of the Month box, and I kind of kept putting it off as well because I wasn't sure what to expect from it. But since I was on vacation, I dived right in and gave the book 4 stars. It was on my list also to read it this summer, and I'm really glad I did because I really, really, really enjoyed the book. Also on vacation, I read Trials of the Earth, the true story of a pioneer woman. I received this through Goodreads giveaway, literally the day before we left on vacation, and I was so excited because I was really excited to read this book, and oh my god, it got 5 stars. It was so good. It tore at all of my heartstrings, and it actually taught me a lot about the Mississippi Delta and what life was like in the mid to late 1800s, which I had not too, you think about it, but you don't think about what actually goes on. And so to me, it was a really, really, really great story, and it was very powerful. The next book I read was on my summer reading list, and it was a collection of Jane Austen, her unfinished stories, and I really liked them all, and I gave it 4 stars. I gave 3 stars to Literary Starbucks. It's a collection of bookish humor and cartoons. I read that really quickly in the car, and it was pretty funny. And then when we got home, I started reading a whole slew of jumping in and out of a bunch of different books at a bunch of different times, which is why, all of these books weren't finished because I had crammed so much reading in that I was kind of tired of it, which is sad to say. So I began reading a book for my new job called #Follow the Leader. It's about social media success with higher education leaders and presidents. It was a good book. It taught me a lot. Some stuff I already knew. I gave that 3 stars. And then I also read a quick book about embroidery. Because I took embroidery up as a hobby. I don't know if you've seen my Instagram lately, but I've been stitching away and creating tons of art for our house. Follow the Leader and the embroidery book both received 3 stars from me. And then my final book for the summer. I read Dennis and Greer, A Love Story. I actually received this book directly from the editor-author of the book. It's actually a story about her mom. Her mom is the Greer, and oh my god, I literally just finished it last night. Oh my god. It was so good. I was crying everywhere. Oh my gosh, it was so good. 5 stars. I recommend that you read it. It comes out in October, so definitely check it out when it comes out. And thank you for sitting through this very long video. I don't know why I told you all 21 books I read this summer, but the 9 that I read from my reading list were the Jane Austen collection, The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna, The Girl Who Was Taken by Charlie Donnelly, Perfect by Cecilia Ahern, Doing It, One Day We'll All Be Dead and None of This Will Matter, The Possessions, The Girls, and You Will Know Me. And hopefully maybe by the end of this year I'll read the other ones that I didn't read this time. Thank you for watching and sitting through this, and I hope you have a great weekend, and you better, because fall is here and that's my favorite season. Ta-da! Bye.